Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about intercepts. An intercept is where a line or your graph hits the x or y axis. So we're just talking about two-dimensional plane. An x-intercept is where it hits the x-axis. So it could be any point along this line. And all of these points have one thing in common. They all have different x values, but their y values are all 0. So to find an x-intercept, plug in y equals 0. Opposite for the y-intercept. The y-intercept hits the y-axis. So all these points are y-intercepts, and they all have one thing in common. All of their x values are 0. So to find a y-intercept, plug in x equals 0. So for a few examples, say we wanted to find the x and y intercept of y equals 3x plus 2. Well, to find the x-intercept, we have to plug in y equals 0. So we know y is 0. So we plug that in. So we get 0 equals 3x plus 2. And then we just solve it like normal. Minus 2, minus 2. So negative 2 equals 3x. And this is just going to give us the x value divided by 3 that our graph hits the x-axis. So x equals negative 2/3. And this is a point. It's not just an x value. This is x comma y. So we have x is negative 2/3 and y is 0. So our x-intercept is negative 2/3 comma 0. To find the y-intercept, we plug in x equals 0 into our equation. So, plug in x equals 0, we get y equals 3 times 0 plus 2. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, so that term is going to go away. Y equals 2. A little bit easier than the last one. So x is 0 and y is 2. That gives us another coordinate point. So our y-intercept is 0, comma 2. And from those 2 points, we can graph it if we need to. We have 0, comma 2. So from this one, over 0 up 2. That's our y-intercept, because it hits the y-axis. And then we have negative 2/3, comma 0. So it's about right here between 0 and 1. And that would be our line. Another example, say we had 3x minus 4y equals 12. And we want to find the x and y intercept and graph it. Well, same process. To find the x-intercept, we plug in y equals 0. So that gives us 3x minus 4 times 0 equals 12. And we know 4 times 0 is just 0, so that's going to go away. We have 3x equals 12. So we divide by 3, and we get our x value for the x-intercept. X equals 4. So our x-intercept is 4, comma 0. That's where it's the x-axis. Now we find our y-intercept. And this is a really good way to graph any line. Find the x-intercept, find the y-intercept. You have 2 points, you can graph it. So we plug in x equals 0. So we get 3 times 0 minus 4y equals 12. Well, we know 3 times 0 is 0. That's just going to go away. Divide by negative 4 on both sides. Make sure you include the negative. If you only divide by 4, your answer is going to be off. So we get y equals 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. So this 0, comma negative 3 is our y-intercept. And then we could draw a graph from there. We have 4, 0 was our x-intercept, so over 4, up 0, and 0, negative 3, so over 0, down 3. And here's our line. Example number 3. Say we have 1/4 x minus 1/2 y equals 2. And we want to graph using the x and y intercepts. So it's the same thing we've been doing. To find the x-intercept, we plug in y equals 0. So we get 1/4 x minus 1/2 times 0 equals 2. That term goes away because it's 0 times a number. So we don't need it. And to get rid of a fraction, well, since it's multiplying, we could divide. But when you divide by a fraction, really you're just multiplying by its reciprocal. So that's what we can do here. To get rid of the 1/4, we multiply by the reciprocal of it, 4 over 1, since we're solving for x. So we multiply this by 4 over 1. 4 over 1 is the same as 4. So really we're just multiplying this by 4. So we get our x equals 2 times 4 is 8. So that's our x-intercept, is 8, 0. Our y-intercept we plug in x equals 0. So we get 1/4 times 0, which is just going to go away, minus 1/2 y equals 2. So that goes away. We need to get rid of the negative 1/2, so we would divide by negative 1/2, but if we divide by a fraction, really we're just multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/2 is just 2. So to get rid of the negative 1/2, we could just multiply both sides by negative 2. So we multiply this times negative 2, and we multiply this times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 1/2 is 1, so those cancel, and we just get y equals negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So our y-intercept is x, y, 0, negative 4. And we could graph it. We have 8, 0, so over 8, up 0, and 0, negative 4, so over 0, down 4. So say we have f of x equals (2x plus 1 over x squared minus 3x plus 8). Well, we know f of x is the same as y, all right? So really, this is the exact same as y equals the same thing. Y and f of x have no difference. They're just a different way of naming the function. So to find the x-intercept, we plug in y equals 0, and then we solve. So 0 equals all of this, 2x plus 1 over x squared minus 3x plus 8. Now we can't really do anything with x on the bottom. So to get everything from the bottom up top, we have to move it to the other side. And the only way to do that is to multiply both sides by this. And what happens is we're multiplying this times 0, as we multiply both sides by x squared minus 3x plus 8. Those cancel. X squared minus 3x plus 8. Zero times anything is 0. So, new thing, we're trying to solve for x still. 0 equals 2x plus 1. So we only really had to deal with the top here. Minus 1. So we get 2x equals negative 1. And divided by 2. So x is negative 1/2. So that's our x-intercept. That's where it hits the x-axis. And that's a coordinate point. Negative 1/2, comma 0. To find the y-intercept, do the same thing, just plug in for x. So, x equals 0. So we get y equals, or f of x equals, that's fine too. Y equals 2 times 0 plus 1 over 0 squared, which is just 0 times 0. So that's going to be 0. Minus 3 times 0 plus 8. Anything with a 0 multiplying with it cancels out. So that's gone, and that's gone. So y equals 1 over 8. Can't simplify that. Irreducible fraction. So that's our answer. X equals 0, y equals 1 over 8. So our y-intercept is 0, 1/8. Now there are different ways of graphing this, but we're just talking about the intercepts this time. So that's it. Have a good day.